Joel, Cal always talks about opponents playing well, something like Washington in the last game, hitting all those threes. The fact that Evansville beat you guys and Utah played you right down to the end, do you think that makes future opponents even more dangerous? Maybe they have a belief now?
Well, I think oftentimes, teams coming in, especially in November, December, and you might even be able to extend that even throughout the season, teams really seem to play with a reckless abandon, really like they have nothing to lose. Oftentimes they're the underdog, or they're the team that, hey, if we can come out and play great, we can win this game, and if we don't play great, we're not going to win. So let's just try to go play great. And I think that teams maybe can build on that. I know that if any of us were on the other bench, that's how we would probably approach it. Hey, this team played them close, that team played them close. We can do it if we stick to the plan and go do our own thing our way. But I think it comes down to the other guys on the other bench are putting together a game plan. They're good coaches as well, and other players on other teams are good players. So I think when you put together a schedule, you're planning to go and play teams that are going to give you a good look for March. I think the Cow's always said that whenever we go into the postseason, that we've seen all different types of teams and different styles of play. And I think that's what we look for when we put together a schedule.
Obviously, you'd rather not have those close games this early, but is it kind of good to get those guys in that situation where you're up one with, a minute and a half left?
I think we all would have, enjoyed maybe the last 10 minutes to be a little bit more relaxing, but I think when you, as a staff, you can go back and you can point to winning time. It's something that Coach always talks about, and you can figure out kind of who your team is, what guys look like. You have a kid like Ashton Higgins who steps up and makes 12 free throws. That's obviously going to help you down the road. You're able to point to certain points of the game where guys made good plays, a great offensive rebound like Johnny Juzang had the other night, or in some ways maybe some mistakes that don't lead to a loss. That's always a positive thing when you're talking about growth, and when you have individuals and a team that's looking to get better. And I think it's always a good thing when you can play close games and win versus not grow.
How's DJ coming along?
Good. I think our guys are getting better. Jeff does a tremendous job with our guys, and our habits that our guys develop here, both on the court and off the court, is something that we're proud of. And I think when you see guys that do get injured and they carry the same kind of grit and determination into the training room, that's always a positive thing. And for us, we're excited to get guys back sooner than later.
I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
We're excited to get guys back.
Sorry, I missed that.
She loves you, man.
When do you expect to get EJ back or Emmanuel back?
You want to ask Siri? she might know better than I will. I don't know.
What about Dante? How's he looking right now?
Good. He's progressing in a good way. He's a guy that is, come with a plan, and I think that we're, working with that, and I think he's going to add a little bit more to practice each and every week.
Any timetable for him as to when he'll return?
You can ask Siri that question too.
How hard is it? How big of a challenge is it for the guys to, like you say, match the other teams? Got nothing to lose, reckless abandon, game after game. How hard is that?
I think early on, I think it's something that they have to acquire. I think that's a skill that these guys are starting to figure out. It's something that Coach has addressed. I think he wants our team to play a little bit that way, like we have nothing to lose. So it's something that we certainly have addressed with our guys, and are trying to find out, what kind of makes them more comfortable. It's tough, and it's tough to play here. It's tough to play in front of 20,000 folks that are challenging you and cheering for you. And these guys, this is new for them too. It's a new team. I think when you talk about our kind of obstacles that we've had to go through in practice with guys being injured, and so sometimes the games now are different than practice, whereas typically you're able to have your practices look like the games or emulate the games and sometimes be tougher. And I think that's why our teams have been good here and great here, because of the practices sometimes have been tougher than the games. And until we can get back to that where we have a full complement and our full roster, I think that we're going to take some learning opportunities, in the games.
Several of the players have been after the games. Their rim protection's good, but guards are getting into the lane and penetrating way too deep. How can you fix that overnight?
You can't. I think it's something that we have to, put them in situations in practice through drills. You have to show them. Some of it is positioning. Some of it is resting, which they've been able to do. The game is moving faster than it ever has. And this is not unlike some of the issues that we've had defensively early on in November in the past, whereas the ball moves quicker, players are quicker, whether they play at Evansville or Michigan State or Utah Valley. These are good players. So I think guys are just learning how the game is played in college. Like I said, this is new. This is new for them. It's new for everyone.
As far as 3-point shooting goes, obviously that wasn't your strongest suit against Utah Valley, but in practice, just going off of what you said, have you seen any improvements with 3-point shooting in practice?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think teams are putting together game plans as well. I think everyone wants to look at us that we're the problem. I think sometimes the guys in coat and ties on the other bench are getting paid to put together a game plan as well, and sometimes that has a little bit to do with it, with our lack of performance in that area. But I think you've got to look at the fact we got to the free throw line as many times as we have. Teams talk about not fouling. Well, they're not doing a very good job of that if we're getting to the free throw line 30 plus times. I think you look at how we're scoring the ball and we only make one 3-pointer, you score 80-something points, that's a positive thing. So I think we're trying to look at what we're doing well, and some of the other things, will change over time.
With all the injuries you guys have any of the walk-ons emerged as potential options like Brad was a few years ago?
Guys, our team is comprised of guys that we think can always potentially play. I think, our better players are going to play more. But I think with what Brennan's doing for us and now Ben, they're guys that are adding value to our team. It might not show up in the box scores on game days, but they're definitely adding value, day in and day out.
Your overall thoughts on the signing class?
You're excited. I think it's a group of guys that all wanted to be here. It's a group of guys that are tremendous basketball players, but first and foremost, they're great people, come from great families. It's a very diverse group of young people that are extremely driven. And I think anytime that you can, collect a group of people that, want to play with other really good, talented players, that's going to fit, Coach Cal's, dream class, every single year. We try to put that together every single year, and this is one that is off to a great start.
Was effort the main difference in rebounding the other night from what you've done previously?
I think there was a greater effort when you look back. That was obvious. Sometimes you make your own luck, you make your own kind of results. And when you talk about that, and other times, sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. And I think, if you look back, even at the Evansville game, there were some balls that just didn't bounce, our way. Part of that was we made our own, shortcomings on the boards, and other times, how many times did a player under 6'3" drive in, shoot a layup around 2 6'8" guys, and then somehow come up with the ball? I don't think that was our effort. I think it was just sometimes a little bit of bad luck combined with, some other things.
Joel, it might be hard to know right now, given you're not sure who will leave and who won't, but in terms of the recruiting class,
think you always want to have the right people. And I think that's the first thing that we always look for is it has to be the right mix, you know, and sometimes that comes with roster management. I think sometimes it comes with, you know, time and what your team might look like next year, and that's both with guys coming in and going out. So I think we'll still continue to look, and then some of that is still to be determined.
Anything else, folks?